Good day. Welcome to another edition of the Africans in America podcast. As always, we are with Weruche Uzoka.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, Weruche, we are in very interesting times.
Mhm.
In the past week, there's been a lot of video of people. One particularly that went viral. A guy was at the airport and he was giving a warning that if you are traveling out of America now and you have dual citizenship and you have an American passport or your country passport, that you may need to get the visa stamp of your country passport before you travel out. This video went viral. It has created a lot of uncertainty for people who have citizenship and for those who even have permanent residency cards. Traveling out of America in Trump's America now is supposed to be dicey. There've been other videos that have come out to debunk that claim that you can't travel without a visa from your home country or without a visa from the country that you're traveling to. But that doesn't take away the fact that there's so much anxiety now. There's so much misinformation. There's so much information and misinformation flying all about now that people don't even know whether it's a safe time to travel. Amongst many anxieties that they have, this travel anxiety, because we Africans, we like to go back to our country. We have things going on there. People are building homes, people are building businesses, people are
Mhm.
taking care of their mothers, taking care of their old parents. So much is going on, and the African immigrant is always in flux, it's always traveling. But these
Mhm.
anxieties have heightened in the recent times. Weruche, what do you see? What's your opinion about what's going on?
First of all, it's sad that just him being in office less than a month or just about a month has triggered this level of fear. But it's also representative of what happened the last time he was in office and what he did to immigrants and what he did to particularly refugees and people who, were supposed to seek solace in America. So the anxiety is should I say granted, or it's not unfounded. However, we have to also pick, we have to be careful what we're absorbing, what we're believing, because the internet space is another crazy world where they send out information just to trigger, they want your fear, they want you to be anxious. And so if you buy into it without doing your due diligence, going to do your research, reading up actual articles, if you don't do that, then you cause yourself more anxiety. I think what I'm saying is we can't stop misinformation from happening. It's going to happen. There's certain groups that, thrive off of other people's fear and anxiety because they have their own agenda, obviously, to maybe deter you or harm you. You have to be very aware of the fact that not everything you hear on the internet space, see on the internet space is actually the truth. But speaking on the anxiety that immigrants currently experience due to due to Trump's administration. It's very real, right? It's very real. Nobody knows what's going to happen. I heard back to what you said about the immigration that what the story I heard was if you have less than 2 years of a green card, you shouldn't go anywhere because they're going to take you aside, they're going to interrogate you, and most likely send you back to your country, depending on where you visited. So these are things that I've actually called a few of my friends who have people in that situation, and they said, no, that is actually not true. It's unfounded. It's not real. But it doesn't take away the fact that people are scared. When you see not just with immigration, but even what's happening with USAID and all the other things that have been going on recently, clearing the federal offices, everybody's scared because no one knows what to expect. So yes, it's
Yeah,
understandable that immigration
yeah.
is going to be one of the targets based
There's
on
this
his past history. Yeah. Mhm.
there's this one also about if you're coming into the country, they'll give you a document to sign, and that if you sign it, you're signing off your right to permanent abode if you have a green card. But
Mhm.
most times, what some other videos on the internet, mainly on TikTok, and
Mhm.
Instagram have come out to say is that some people actually overstayed. If you have a permanent residency, you're supposed to be in the country within a time. And if you're leaving, you don't leave more than 6 months. So some people end
Mhm.
up staying like a year.
Mhm.
And the understanding is that it's those people who have had an extended stay out of the country that end up being called aside to sign some waivers.
And
And
that's true.
most immigration lawyers too have also said they shouldn't sign anything. There's a lot of flux out there. There's a lot out there.
Correct. Correct. Like even during my immigration interview, my citizenship interview, she asked a specific question, which they ask everybody. They said, "Have you been to any country since you became a resident and stayed beyond 6 months?" And I said no. So it's 6 months is the mark that determines whether or not you've you've abandoned your petition for green card or
Mm.
not. So it's usually the window they give. If you notice, it's the same 6 months they give, no matter the duration of your visa. Let's just say you have a visitor's visa, regardless of the duration, they give you 6 months. 6 months is practical, right? They're expecting you not to exceed 6 months, 4 months, 3 months, but 6 months as a visa to enter, even without your green card. And then when you're traveling, if indeed this is your new abode, it does make sense that beyond 6 months means that maybe you do have another life, you
Somewhere
know,
else.
somewhere else. And then that means that interprets as you don't need the American residency. So it's
Okay.
something that has been going on. It's not just a Trump administration situation. It's the standard.
But, but,
So, but
but, but maybe the Trump administration and all the uncertainties of this time have
correct.
exacerbated the anxiety, right?
As expected, yes. So, yeah. So, but again, that's why we shouldn't just listen to what people are saying online. Actually experience it yourself. It's a risky experience to have, but everybody should have like a first-hand experience.
Experiences
Experience it yourself
you
before
may be
you know what I mean?
you may be at the airport. You may be at the airport when you're coming in saying, "Hello, hello, please,
It's
can you
very
be calling to
risky,
somebody? Nobody will
indeed.
listen."
True, true. It's very risky, but it's necessary to have that experience and then know, make your determination.
Say they're blocking me for entry. Can you? No, 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 no. You may not want to experience that. Okay, but
That's true.
you see, as immigrants, right?
Mhm.
We tend to feel we want to talk extensively about our tensions and anxieties. I try to make a list of them. We when we come from Africa, we really, apart from if you came from South Africa or those countries that experience some form of apartheid also, we Africans don't know about racial discrimination. It is here where when we come, we see it. We even laugh it off at first. But when you see it systematically that you're being denied things, you are not allowed into some spaces, then you start to see discrimination. You start to be aware that there are racial discriminations here. Then you also get to be worried about, last time we talked about cultural adjustments in the workplace, how things you can do that will get you fired that you didn't even know because of who you are. It's not a problem from where you come from, but just asking someone, can we have coffee in after work can get you fired. Can just go your colleague can go to HR and say
HR.
that you HR and say something about that, and then legal status also. Sometimes you get into problems, somebody hits your car because of you really have all these legal worries. You don't even know whether you should go, and you sometimes you stay back from getting all the
Mm.
privileges that are due you because of all these anxieties and worry. Me, I don't want trouble. Oh. Me, I don't want trouble. This is our talk. And then we can't get to enjoy the America that much because of all these anxieties, all these worries that you'll be discriminated against. Your education will not, that you came with, it's not allowing you to you get full benefit for the education you came here with. Did you suffer any of this, or are you suffering, or have you been seeing it? Do you know how does it create tensions for you whenever you're interacting with other people?
Like you said, at first I didn't, because I didn't recognize it. So I didn't even know that it was what I was experiencing, right? I walked into spaces again as myself, happy, happy-go-lucky, expressive, and just, direct, because we don't want what I'll speak for myself, but I know it's pretty much a very Nigerian thing. We're very direct. We don't understand manipulation. We don't understand, the concept of tongue in cheek, holding back your words. You're as authentic as you come, right? So you say it as is. So I realized that that put me in spaces where I got negative attention just virtue of being myself, being the me that I want to use my father raised to be expressive. My father armed with great education, knowing the world out there, knowing that as a woman and a Black woman, there are already multiple strikes against you. And so if you can't speak up, and be expressive, then that's to your detriment. And so I came with that energy and then realized that certain spaces, and in America, the discrimination is also as a result of your skin color, not even the fact that you're Black, but the fact that you're a darker version of Black. It wasn't a thing I experienced in Nigeria. For goodness sakes, at age 18, I was a model in Nigeria. I was beautiful. I was considered like, the world was my oyster, right? And then I come here, and then you see people who don't have the travel experience I have, don't have the education I have, don't have the family background I have, right? Don't have the self-awareness and elevation, I want to say. And I'm being discriminated by them. And I'm like, wait, what's going on here? So I began to pick, it became something that it didn't concern me for the people coming after me, concern me for the little Black girl in her school who is being suppressed, right? Just because she's who she is. She's who her maker created her to be, right? And people who are either intimidated, people who are envious, maybe, I don't know, choose to hold her back. That became a concern for me. It became an advocacy focus for me, if I even want to put it that way. And so for me, when I started to notice discrimination, like I said, I spent years with discrimination going over my head, completely over my head. I didn't even understand the concept. As they were discriminating against me, I was still functioning as myself because I didn't know it was a thing. It wasn't a thing like, oh, I'm suddenly not beautiful because I'm darker. Are you kidding? And then you're looking at the people that are considered beautiful and you're like, okay, what's going on here? It was very alien to me. And then when you talk like this, they consider you cocky, arrogant. But how do you think I consider you for being discriminative? How do you think I look at you for being discriminative? So it becomes a thing that if you can lose yourself in the battle, it can take you out of who you are originally, the peaceful, kind person. It can make you angry at the world if you let it. But one of the ways I've learned to deal with it is to just carry on and look at them with pity. Whoever is discriminating against you has already shown you their worldview, has shown you their exposure, has shown you that they really are from the village, as we refer to them in Nigeria, because Nigeria, you know how we refer to people who are coming from the village? It's like you're not exposed.
but,
It just clearly
but,
shows you've not been around the world, you've not interacted, and you're not diverse. And guess what? You discriminate against me makes me pity you. So that's just kind of the way I deal with it. Yeah.
yeah, but we can't take away the fact that when they discriminate against you and they deny you what is due you, they
Yes, it
set you back.
stifles
They
you.
set you back
It stifles you,
economically,
stagnates you,
financially, and all
it
that.
stagnates you. But guess what?
Yeah.
If you're as religious and spiritual as I am, you understand that nothing goes for nothing. So whatever stagnation has been given to you here is actually a blessing. It's probably a
Yeah.
redirection. And so you
Yeah.
should just embrace it, because if you keep doing what you're supposed
Yeah.
to
But,
do,
but
it'll happen.
but you see, in America, yeah, the disruptions are really costly, especially most
They
times
are.
immigrants they are not allowed into the good spaces with good salaries. So
Mhm.
they have these jobs where they just pay their bills. and it's a cycle. They pay their bills, they manage to send something here and there. And so getting from my studies, I found out that a stable, steady job is one of those anxieties also. And beyond also beyond the job, let's talk about the one that really is the biggest problem for most immigrants, even for Americans: healthcare. Healthcare, you don't want to have a sickness that will need you to take antibiotics, that will need you to see a doctor, because most times the whole healthcare system here is, they need your socials, first of all, before you even start. Then you need insurance. Then you need, oh boy, and you need the right kind of insurance. And even when you have this insurance, you may still not qualify for a lot. Sometimes your deductible, concepts that we don't even know in Africa, deductible. Your deductible is so high and all. And
You know what I hear
all
when you
this,
complain? You know what I hear when people complain? I hear
yeah.
people say, so if it's so bad, go back to your country. That's the level of
Yeah, yeah.
discrimination. That's the level. But you know what?
Yeah,
Like I said, like your listing, it's okay. It's okay because it's a choice. We all have to, like they're right. If it's so bad, it's time for us to go back. I know a few people who just said, you know what? I'm going to pack up and go back, and they're thriving back home, right? And so it's a choice. I want us to always be aware of the fact that our choice still exists. Our choice is to either be here or not be here. It's still available to us. One of the ways to navigate discrimination is to just keep going. That's one of the ways. And I'll tell you, like I told you before, the most discrimination that I have recognized, I don't know that I have experienced, but I have recognized is from Black people, not from white people. So it's always very important to know that
That'll be another topic.
discrimination,
That'll be another topic for another,
yes,
another
racism is not
episode.
only as a result of the skin
Nah,
color or the race.
Hispanics too.
It's
Hispanics
actually
are
worse with the Black people against the immigrant Blacks than it is from the white people. And so that's something that
yeah.
always we should establish. Until it changes, I'm going to keep speaking about it because I'm a voice to advocate for Blacks. I still advocate for Blacks. But within that structure is a structure where the actual Blacks are actually being, the ones who are perpetrating the discrimination. And so it's very important that we highlight it because it's like you can't keep complaining about being discriminated against by others while you're discriminating against others. Does that make any sense? I've heard terms like,
Yeah.
oh, our ancestors fought for this and this and that. Yes, yes, I totally agree. My ancestors did not come here as slaves or fight, but doesn't take away the fact that I'm still here dealing with the same level of discrimination you're dealing with. And I would
Yeah.
like you as an ally, not as a
Yeah.
as somebody
Yeah.
who's yeah.
It's one of the tensions. Now you've mentioned it. The
Mhm.
African immigrant, African American interaction is also one of the tensions and one of
It
the
needs
things that
healing.
cause anxiety.
It needs
Yes,
healing.
it creates yeah, it creates anxiety too because a lot of
And
people who
nobody
have had
talks
colleagues in
about
the
it.
workplace. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's an issue that is discussed. But let me ask you again too. You know how I just browsed the healthcare part of it.
Yeah.
Do you have friends who when they are traveling abroad, maybe going back to Africa, they will tell you that some people will tell them, please, as you're coming, Abeg, can you bring antibiotics? Can you bring
Yeah.
antibiotics for me?
Because
Can
of
you
access.
because the
Yeah.
healthcare here is so expensive. So people
Yeah.
come back with with all these medicines, and then you need prescription. It's so formal. It's so organized. It's so
Yeah. The friends that do that
so
are
people just
actually doctors. My friends that do that are actually doctors. So I trust their judgment that they know what they're doing. They've been in this system to know how this system functions. So they go back home and they see drugs that require, all of that, and then they're able to bring it. Like it's typically just antibiotics most times. But because yeah.
mm,
And then so yeah, they have that. So
like,
but yeah,
yeah,
I see that all the time.
so
But
many
you
out,
have to
so
understand.
many over the yeah. Sorry, so
Mhm.
go on.
No, I was just saying you have to understand, like the fact that we're in a new environment, we have to embrace the fact that it comes with its own level of, things that do not tie into what we're already used to. And I'm open to that,
Mm,
but I'm not open to the level of discrimination as a result of either I don't know if to call it envy or jealousy, as a result of targeting, as a result of saying,
Mm.
you are not supposed to be here to do this. And it's very discreet. It's not open. It's so discreet, and it goes out. It goes, if you're not careful, it goes unnoticed. And then, like you said, it causes delays, it causes stagnation, it causes all kinds of things. That should be rooted out. That is the level of discrimination that is criminal and should be rooted out. You know what I mean? That is
Yeah,
not acceptable. It's not acceptable because we don't live in a world
the,
where one person or a group should determine how far another person goes. No, we shouldn't live in that type of
yeah,
world. It should be
it's
allowed
one of
to show up
it's
as
one of the
yourself.
cultural adjustment shock for us. Yes,
And
go
then
on, go
let
on, go on.
your inability to function, let your lack of, maybe should I say, skills or talents do the speaking. But if it's because of the skin color, and then there's a pick over who goes before who, not based on merit, but based on choice because of the skin color, that is extreme discrimination that should be rooted out of society. And that's the kind
Yeah.
of discrimination I'll keep fighting for the rest of my life, because and I'll call
Yeah,
out
yeah,
whoever, so yeah.
yeah. These discriminations we see because but from someone like me who's in Texas,
Hmm.
my encounter is less with the African American, especially in Austin, than with the the Asian Americans, the Latinos, and
Yep.
the whites. The demographics of Austin here shows that there's only almost just about 5-6% of Austin is black,
Hmm.
and they I can assure you they're not in the best of jobs. They just get by. They're not you won't see them in the top earning group. The best earning people here tend to be the Asian Americans because of the large population of IT companies here and all that,
Yep.
semiconductors and all, But as African immigrants, and we are talking about anxiety, we're talking about the Trump administration. People are worried now, I'm sure, especially because of their legal status. They get to hear that USCIS is holding back on some process, changing a lot of their processes. So those ones that are filed for whatever they are filed for and trying to regularize their stay here, there's uncertainty about how that process will be going through. USI, USCIC, CIS now is now another source of anxiety for people. Even if you're going through a legal pathway, it has become a source of anxiety. But let's not forget also that when we come here also, there's a lot of social isolation. You remember? There's a lot of social isolation. We don't get to mix that much. And we don't, when we come from Africa, if you call anybody in Africa now, you call your friends, they probably are in one wedding, one party, one event, one social event. But it's not the
There's
same here. It's
community.
not the
There's
same.
community back home,
Yeah.
yes. So we struggle with the sense of belonging because, again, we stick out like a sore thumb, right? The people you encounter are either your work colleagues or your church members if you go to church. That's really it. You don't really have like a community. I raised kids without a community of people,
Oh
except
dear.
like, yeah, it was the most difficult thing to do because it's just an isolation, but you find a way to cope. You find other avenues to let out steam. I just moved from Connecticut to California, so I do have a couple of friends from childhood here, but I haven't gotten together with them. But the point is that, yes, and so now there's the need to again begin to build the community, and it's something that is ongoing. It's as a result of being in an environment that isn't traditionally your environment. And so again, one of the coping mechanisms is just go out there, meet people, get involved in different activities.
Okay.
And
So,
I am 728. I am very big these days, haven't always been, but these days I'm very big on like personal connections, in-person connections, as opposed to social media. Social media, I want to say, is the worst thing that has happened to society in recent times. I'm telling you, do you know why? Because you meet all kinds of people who are not real. But when you meet people in
Yeah.
person and communicate and get together with them, you're better off. And so I feel that more people should get off social media, should really shut down social media and be out there in the streets, because isolation is one of the killers of society. They
Mm.
promote isolation on social media so much. They tell you be on your own, especially these spiritual communities where they go on and say, oh, it's time for you to isolate. Your family is bad. Your
Yeah.
friends are terrible. That's a lie. That's a lie. As a child of God, as a Christian, fellowshipping is key. That is how you stay alive. You fellowship with others. You know what I mean? The other day I was so lonely here. I drove to the lake and just seeing people. I even saw a beautiful wedding going on. Just seeing that type of thing is what lifts the spirit. And so I'm one of the advocates
Yeah.
of get off social media, shut down your social media, go out into the world, mix with real human beings, have real conversations with strangers, and be alive. That's one of the remedies.
Okay.
That's a good mental health
Okay.
remedy.
Okay. Now, you have been here for 20 years. What we from, we from Port Harcourt, we have this pidgin English background. We will call someone like you Ogbologbo.
Mm.
Ogbologbo.
Ogbolobo.
You're fully
Mhm.
on ground. You're fully on ground. I
Mhm.
mean, in this time you've been here, and even in this present time now, what are your worries? Since we're talking about anxieties and worries, you still
What are my
have at
worries?
least three top ones. Yes. What are your worries as an African immigrant? You
Not
know,
meeting real
whether
people.
whether whether or
I've told
whether
you.
whether or whether Trump, whether or whether
Oh,
Trump.
well, I'm sure. Not meeting real people. Not meeting, not
Oh,
having
okay.
good, yeah,
Social
not having
isolation.
social isolation is key. Yes, is one of the main things. I
So
get the sense
on.
of belonging from family, friends that I already established. I get the sense of belonging from, things, I've done, but actually having a real, again, it's not just to have a pack of people in your world. Show people that you don't even that make effort to learn about you first and learn about your culture and know who you are. People who actually buy tickets and travel to other cultures and learn about who they are and have that embodiment of the knowledge of other people existing outside their space. I don't have that. I lack that, again, like I said, outside of my own social group. Meeting people is tough because you have to start to educate them about who you are and your culture, and it's boring because the world should be everybody's oyster at this stage that we are, where there's the internet, it's a global village.
Mm.
And so you lack the ability to have rigorous conversations and in-depth with them, just because they don't have an understanding of the world out there. And so that's one of my struggles.
Mm.
But again, that when that presents, that immediately tells you that that's what you should be teaching, really. So it comes back to me to think of spaces and ways to educate and teach them about the world
Okay.
outside of them, instead of like being frustrated that it doesn't, I don't have them.
So I will take it.
You know what I mean?
I will take it that you're settled. You are settled with good healthcare plans. You don't have any
For the
problems with
most part, for the
legal
most
status.
part,
You are not worried
yeah.
about education. You have
No, for the
already two
most part.
masters, right?
I have two masters. I'm about to get my PhD. For the most part, yes, that
Oh,
those
Jesus.
those things are
Typical
already
African immigrant, just going for
typical
the
African.
book
You just
book
keep
route.
going. You have to keep going. First of all, that's my babysitting tactic for myself, is that it keeps me mentally engaged. You need that, right?
Yeah.
You need travel, you need education just to keep yourself sane, right? You need community involvement as well, be it through politics or, teaching, whatever it is, you need that, right? So yeah, for the most part, that's what the concern is for me, is meeting people who have the desire and interest to also go out there and just learn about other cultures and then sit down and engage. It gets boring that the culture that I see discussed is, oh, this person's husband is getting a divorce. Oh, did you know that Beyonce is getting a this or that? It gets boring. These are our entertainers. We love them for the art they present to us, and they've served that purpose for the longest as being those, should I call them icons that we look at, we go to the festivals, we enjoy. Outside of that, I don't want to hear the nasty details. Care that I know, there's the P. Diddy thing going on where he did these bad things he did. I don't want to sit every day and talk about it. There's nothing to talk about with P. Diddy being in jail. He deserves what he got. Life goes on. But I don't want to analyze it and talk about the updates. It's boring. Let's talk about the world outside of us. And that's the problem. The celebrity culture is too idolized to the point of I wonder, like, what do you guys read books? Do you guys travel? It's like that's all they talk about. And I'm like, it's dangerous to everybody who listens. It's dangerous to anybody who pays attention to that type of thing. So that's my
Maybe it's an
frustration.
escape, Maybe it's an escape
But
for
it's an
many
unhealthy
people.
escape. It's a fixation on people who are just like you, who are just humans like you, and who are able to commit whatever. Like, they have their own issues. Why are they your entertainment? You be your own entertainment. Educate yourself, travel, speak straight English, be normal, but don't make them the focus. So it becomes boring. Like, oh, have you heard that this person did this? I've heard it, but I'm not interested in it though. It doesn't mean I don't like that person. I'll totally go to their festivals and enjoy their music, but I don't care to know what goes on in their kitchen pot, in their cooking pot, or in their relationships. It's boring to me.
Okay. Okay.
So that's my issue.
We will continue to explore these topics. Like
Sure.
I had called in the previous editions. Anybody who has an opinion about what's going on here should make a comment in the comment section. We know that we live in interesting times, and a lot of people are anxious, worried. They're worried over their cultural adjustment issues, their healthcare issues. They're worried over their legal status. They're worried over their health, their education, and all. We thank you for today, for being with us today. Continue to support us. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share.